up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only Ace, which, why my mic got erectile dysfunction. I'm gonna tighten it up though. Oh, I'm gonna tighten it up. I don't mean to sound erotic, but come on, work with me, please. You good? Oh, don't you do that to me. Don't you do that to me. Don't you dare do this to me. Don't do this. Don't do this. You good? You good? Okay. As I was rudely interrupted by my mic. What up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only Ace Switch, aka who keep putting this jello in my pants, aka who keep giving me barbecue sauce. I didn't ask for this much barbecue sauce, aka the Komaki Tiger Dropper, aka the nigga master, bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sights. Episode, I'm losing track. 174. It's been a minute. A part of me was gonna record, but then some issues happened. All of it now, my camera wanna cooperate, so it's cool. I did the same thing. I was starting to get ready, and then just everything just started happening. I'm like, I don't have the patience today. So that's why I'm here. I am here now, though. Got some catching up to do, but definitely some interesting stuff that did happen throughout this week, and of course the past weeks that I at least was initially planning to discuss some things, but I'm glad I caught what I caught. Not that could be misinterpreted. I meant a time code. Sorry about that. I'm in a time code, I swear. Swears. Yeah. It feels like it's been so long, but I don't know what is time anymore. Nonetheless, let's stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. First topic of discussion. Mortal Kombat 1 finally has been revealed. Shouts out to Bill Coon on Twitter, who leaked Mortal Kombat 1 before it was announced about like a week or so ago. Pretty much dead on the nose. So the credibility is intact. Literally the next game is called Mortal Kombat 1 that has been announced. So for those people that may not know, Mortal Kombat 1 basically is essentially a reboot. Basically, it seems to be taking the Aftermath DLC for Mortal Kombat 11 as canon, where essentially he's starting the timeline anew, essentially. And you can definitely see that in the trailer that released earlier today. You got who do you got? You got what looks to be I think it's pretty much a given at this point, at least what everybody's speculating. Very young Raiden. So that's interesting. I thought it was, at least at first, I thought it was two Kung Laos, or like some weird like multiversal like alternate versions of Kung Lao or something like that, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So yeah, I think one person was Raiden because the hat looked very similar to his Mortal Kombat 1 you know, iconic hat. I don't even know what you officially call it, but let's just call it Asian hat. That's kind of racist, but you know what? We just gonna keep it rolling. What else? Kung Lao. We saw Kitana as well as Melina, which a lot of people were. I mean, no spoilers, but a lot of people were not pleased with what happened to Melina in it was either 10 or 11. So there is that. Of course, you got it wouldn't be Mortal Kombat without Sub-Zero and Scorpion, so they showed them. But then there's this weird dynamic they refer to as what was it? Cosmic characters. Let me scourge a little bit. It was, I think they were called Cosmic or something. So cameo fighters. So at least one of the details, choose from a unique roster of cameo fighting partners to assist you in battle. Excuse me. So I guess what this at least is very much implied is that these specific characters are going to be like tag in characters. So you pick your, your default character or whatever character you intend to play as. And then it seems to be like, in addition to that, you pick a cameo fighter who basically, I'm assuming it's like a button assigned to your controller setup that you press it and then they'll come in and assist, probably like help with combos. One cool potential thing, maybe some unique fatalities. Maybe they call it a cameoality. I mean, cameoality. Kung Lao wins. Cameoality. I mean, hey, I've heard of worse. I've heard worse. Cameoality. Liu Kang wins. Cameoality. Like the friendship. Friendship. Oh, that seems to be cool. So what's interesting is that both Sub-Zero and Scorpion are cameo fighters. So does that mean that they're not going to be standard fighters? Which I don't think so. I think my guess is that there is going to be some characters that maybe can be both, or maybe like the whole cast that are like fully playable can also be cameo fighters, and maybe they have different like attributes in that regard. I don't know. Showed Shang Tsung. Of course, Liu Kang, who's a fire god now. I mean, you had some time to play, but so it's weird. So like Liu Kang is like Raiden now. Now he's starting a whole timeline, which is actually a pretty cool concept when you think about it. I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah, super young Shang Tsung. That is interesting. So it's like they're pretty much rebooting the whole Mortal Kombat franchise, which is not really a bad idea considering how like muddied up the whole franchise got with the like 3D era of games and a lot of very odd, just out of place characters that they created and developed or what have you. So I can get behind it. Yeah, so you got that. You got him doing his thing. Liu Kang Yeah, he's got the fire and the ice, I guess, or fire and thunder. One of the, I think, fire and thunder. So yeah, at least within the trailer, they were showing hey, it ain't a Mortal Kombat game without that nasty, disgusting, vile, but just permeating violence, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You best believe. So that was dope. Yeah, it looks like just a whole new setting. It's not really much that could be really, I don't know, taken from this. I guess that's interesting. Like Kung Lao is now, I think the dynamic between Kung Lao and Raiden is probably going to be similar to Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Maybe that'd be a premise for Shaolin monks too. That'd be interesting. So yeah. Also, this has been a very interesting aspect of the game. So of course, 3 versions: regular, premium edition, and Mortal Kombat 1 collector's edition. And I think the lower 2 editions you can play the game early. I think for everybody else is May 19th, but if you get the last 2 editions, it comes out like a week earlier technically. Got a costume for Johnny Cage, who has John Claude Van Damme's likeness, which is funny because in the first Mortal Kombat, that's who Johnny Cage was inspired from. I think the movie Bloodsport or whatever. So that's a nice, cool little callback. That's tempting. Not gonna lie to you. So you got that, but I say the biggest interesting aspect of this game is that the game is coming out on PS5, Series S and X, and also Nintendo Switch. So that just raises a lot of questions in terms of well, first off, technically that's kind of cross-gen because they're releasing it for a very well, at this point, pretty much an old console. And also the fact that they're releasing it for Switch, but not releasing it for PS4 or Xbox One, which is interesting. That they're developing it for the Switch, but not the Xbox and PS4. It's like if they're doing both, they might as well. And there is a dedicated development team that isn't like like tied to the other development teams essentially. So there's separate teams working on this Nintendo Switch version, a separate team on the PC version, and then like I would assume a core team on the PS5 and Xbox Series versions. So I mean, it raises a lot of questions. Apparently Mortal Kombat 11 was native, and probably a very good testament of how far you can push the Nintendo Switch. But how are they gonna do it again? Like, and then I think a lot of people's minds instantly were going to stream a cloud version of Mortal Kombat 11, which on a lot of levels that sounds like a horrible idea. Could just imagine the frame, the input lag just being just ridiculous. So you got that. Yeah, damn. Yeah, that's just I don't know. I'm very curious of that version specifically, just to see how they managed to get that to work, and hopefully it's well. But I mean, a lot of people said the graphics were pretty bad for the Switch for MK11 on the Switch. So we'll see. Yeah, we'd love to see more gameplay, which I think we'll see at the PlayStation Direct, which we'll talk about a bit later. But overall, finally we get just this, we get the sweet release of finally knowing what the damn game is, and with all these teases that Boone was doing, you know, it's the clock is 12, which means Mortal Kombat. Wait, no, it skipped 12, so it's not the next. It's starting again. But it's at the same time it's kind of fun, but like it was dragging on a little too much. Just all the teases, like, come on, don't give me blue balls, Ed, please don't. But I digress. I digress. Moving on. Overwatch 2. What are we gonna do about you? I wasn't trying to rhyme, but I did. So Overwatch 2, they had a recent dev chat where they, you know, were talking about progression and within the development of future updates within the game. And one of the big bombs they did drop is that basically they are pretty much totally scrapping the original PvE concept that they showed us before the game released. So basically it was like pretty much a competitor to PvP, where PvE you had, you know, progression. Oh my God, are you doing it again? Please don't do that to me. Where, you know, we had the issue with the progression and skill trees, and, you know, like unique aspects that isn't in PvP. So pretty much all that, you know, like that little cool teaser that they showed earlier, like before the game Overwatch 2 officially released, scrapped, gone. But they claim that PvE will be released seasonally as smaller co-op missions that, of course, Overwatch had already, that like you could do in Overwatch 1. So this this understandably pissed a lot of people off, because at least what they were hyping up Overwatch 2 to be in the first place, that made them justify this being Overwatch 2, was basically was basically the PvE portion of it alongside the PvP. And now they're like basically just you know what, no, we're not doing it. I mean, obviously they, you know, spin whatever logic saying that they can't, but not a good look. I think that definitely burns a lot of fans of Overwatch, for sure, because I think there was I assume a lot of people that were maybe holding out specifically for PvE to come out, that maybe weren't really into PvP and would prefer having a PvE experience, like with your friends or whatnot. But it's messed up, man. Hate to see it. So yeah, as you would expect, a lot of people weren't happy, understandably so, because you literally made a promise that got a lot of people to jump to Overwatch 2, and then basically just, no, we're not. Nope, never mind. No PvE. Sorry. We thought we could do it, but we can't. So, yeah. Curious to see how that's going to go for the health of the game overall. I mean, of course, you got your people that could care less about PvE, but maybe they were curious too. Maybe they wanted to play it, but maybe they could also see how messed up it is for people who were waiting for PvE to finally release, and then they kept pushing it back as well. You know, upon the release of Overwatch 2, that was the big bomb, that PvE wasn't going to be at launch for Overwatch 2, but then now to eventually be like, yeah, we're basically just canceling PvE. So not a good look, Overwatch Blizzard. And I guess that's another factor. Like, it's hard to you know, say who could be at fault here. I mean, knowing Blizzard, who's known to do some shady stuff like this, it could have been, you know, some call from higher ups to do as such. You know what I mean? So yeah. Not a good look. Not a good look. Overwatch. Not at all. Not at all. Moving on. PlayStation Direct. Well, my bad. Is it? I always get it confused. I thought it was a PlayStation. I'm pretty sure they called it both PlayStation Direct and Showcase. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Either way. Nonetheless, PlayStation Showcase is announced to be broadcast next Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. They said it's going to be about 1 hour of announcements. And they say they're focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios from around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators. So, oh yeah. Excuse me, that got me thirsty. I'm sorry. So, I guess we can kind of get into speculation territory at this point. So yeah, like we mentioned earlier, probably gonna be, we're probably gonna actually see gameplay, the first gameplay of Mortal Kombat 11. I think that's pretty much a given. Other guess is probably a new character for Tekken 8. I'd say that's at least a given too. Yeah, at least another new. I hope is Brian Fury. I'm gonna call it right now. That's just the hopeful in me. Wants it to be Brian Fury. We'll see. What else? A lot of people were talking about that we could see Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, because obviously we've talked about in the past how heavily rumored that it is that is being worked on, and Konami is like outsourced the IP to some external folks, in the same vein as the Silent Hill 2 remake that's with Bloober Team. So that is pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it's about time that we see Metal Gear come back. Man, how long has it been? Like, what, since 5? And that came out in like 2015? Goodness, that's been what is time anymore? But yeah, we could definitely could see that. Pragmata, the one game from Capcom that they said they moved back from 2022 to 2023, so we'll see if they follow through with that. Maybe will we see a Dino Crisis remake? That's hopeful. I don't know, but one can dream. What's another good one that I would like to see at least? I think it would be pretty safe, pretty likely that we could see the Resident Evil 4 remake separate ways DLC announced. That'd be dope. From the rumors, at least, it seems like it was pretty much in close to the main game's development or something like that. That like after they were done with 4, they immediately started working on the Separate Ways DLC. So I think that might be pretty safe. Might even get a shadow drop. You never know. Probably see Final Fantasy how could I forget? Man, if we were to see Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, we probably might see it here. It seems apparent that they aren't too shy about showing two Square Enix IPs next to each other in terms of like, trying not to take away from Final Fantasy 16 by showing Final Fantasy 7 Remake Rebirth. But that's very possible. I'm still in suspicious, and I don't believe that we'll see Rebirth before the end of this year. I'm very skeptical of that until we actually see it. But I don't know. It's possible. It's hard for me to believe, and especially with FF16 so close. That's hard to say, So there's that. What else? Probably like one last trailer for Street Fighter 6 before it drops. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like they've shown pretty much everything they want to show with that. Maybe just remind you that the beta is this weekend. I just want something from Capcom, like a Outbreak remake or something like that. That'd be a dream. Hell, even then, whatever the next Resident Evil they're making, Resident Evil 9, maybe something from Atlas, something Persona, maybe that rumored Persona 3 remake, maybe the whatever the next Persona is. They could, I would dig that. Yeah, I think those are probably safe. I could care less about the VR stuff. Maybe we see RE4 VR, but I think that's a long ways out technically. Maybe we'll get a tease like alongside the Separate Ways announcement or something like that. I could see that. But yeah, I think that's pretty safe. I guess Spider-Man 2, since that's supposed to be coming out in September, could see like a pretty extensive clip of maybe some co-op gameplay between Miles and Peter Parker. That'd be dope. Oh yeah, especially with the Into the Spider-Verse hype. That'd be some good some good capitalization, I'm just saying. But yeah, hopefully it delivers. Here's hoping. Try not to get my hopes up. Be cautiously optimistic. That's how I'm feeling. Moving on. Call of Duty 2023 is apparently going to be named Modern Warfare 3, and also developed by Sledgehammer Games, who I think they previously made. I think they made Call of Duty Vanguard. Let me double check that. Yeah, it was kind of like a mixed. It seemed like a lot of developers were involved, but who was the? I think mainly Sledgehammer, at least, but of course they mentioned that, like, Treyarch, Raven, High Moon, Beanox, and Demon were involved, but I think the primary developer was Sledgehammer. So you got that. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So going from 2 right to 3, that's a little odd. I mean, normally Activision like to make their main titles breathe, and you would think Modern Warfare, they'd want to milk this as much as possible, but I guess apparently not. So this could be this could be where we'll see all the premium DLC, where we'll get like a whole like greatest hits, not even greatest hits, all the hits of past Modern Warfare, maps that everybody know and love, which I'm all down for. If Modern Warfare 3 is basically Modern Warfare 2, but they removed the awful delayed timed perk system and add all of the classic maps, just fully realized in like the current Call of Duty engine, whatever. Hey, I'm down. Sign me up. And then of course, obviously they'll continue the campaign and stuff like that. I guess they're gonna have zombies, Modern Warfare 3 zombies. I don't know if the original 3 had it. I'm gonna say no, but I could be wrong. I guess there's gonna be, they even know the beta dates. Beta weekend 1, PS4, PS5. You could see that PlayStation exclusivity is still intact. Campaign early access. Okay, so that's cool. I'm glad they're still doing the early access, so you can, at least people that want to legit play the campaign can get a chance to play before not feeling, have the FOMO when the multiplayer officially releases. Full release November 10th. And the season 1 launch and new Warzone map will be December 5th. Seems like a plan. Yeah, I mean, hey, it part of it is a little grimy in a way. But at the same time, hey, if they got the maps and the gameplay is pretty much on par with Modern Warfare 2, and they just removed the awful timed tiered perk system, well, not tiered, but the timed delayed perk system, they just scrap the hell out of that and give us our standard perk system. I think it'd be a solid game, but we'll see. We'll see. Sign me up though. I don't know who I got to talk to, but sign me up. Sign me up, please. Phil Spencer had a pretty infamous interview on the Kind of Funny Xcast about a week or so ago, which pretty much just made the headlines everywhere. At least I guess from hearing some of the backstory in terms of like how the interview came to be, it seemed like the intention wasn't even what was, it basically ended up being talked about. But basically all this horrible stuff happened right on the cusp of them, I guess a few days prior to the interview. So shout out to Snowbike Mike. He asked them questions, and boy, Phil Spencer, he didn't shy away from him. He hit them questions head on. So basically what I am referring to was, first point was that the Activision Blizzard merger with Microsoft was halted by the Europe, I guess equivalent to the FCC. I want to say not FCC, but I think they're referred to as the CMA, and they basically blocked it based off of I guess a fear monopoly in regards to as somebody who's not fully an expert in this, mind you, but to my understanding, as it was basically a fear, or fear monopoly of their streaming service, where basically I guess they predict or think that because Xbox's streaming technology is so revolutionary, that they felt that if with this merger they would be too powerful or something along those lines. So they pretty much stopped the merger based off that. So basically, well, after the interview, it seems like it finally did go through after appealing it, and probably after the interview to an extent. But in terms of like them watching the interview and seeing how how miserable they thought Phil was or whatever. But so that was another aspect. And of course, Phil took it to the chin, and was pretty honest about it. That hey, this is unfortunate, and hey, we're gonna appeal and try again, essentially. So you can only respect that. The next topic they talked about was, of course, the unfortunate reviews and reception towards Microsoft's like pretty much first big exclusive IP in a while, Redfall for the Xbox, and apparently did not review that well. Was very ho hum. A lot of just feelings of being uninspired in terms of the world and environments and dynamic. Then there was also the bomb that the game was supposed to be 60 FPS, and I think some of the early gameplay footage was shown at 60 FPS. But then pretty much like literally like what, a week before the game released, they said, guys, sorry. The game is actually going to be 30 FPS. My bad. Sorry about that, guys. My bad. Ooh. Big oof. Where that oof gif at? So, as you would expect, gamers were outraged and very much not pleased. So that definitely did not help the game at all. But then also to find out that the game was not that great otherwise, even without factored in the 60 FPS. So, not a good look, coming into his interview. So he was asked about that and basically said that, hey, it was unfortunate. Which was weird was that he said that it reviewed very well within our, like, I guess they do mock reviews before the game goes out or whatever, so they get an expectation idea of what the game is gonna be received as in a way. But it seems like I don't know, it was some brown nosing or some some fluffing to some extent, because that was not what happened. It was not what happened. So there is that. So, but Phil pretty much again took it on chest. He took full credibility, not blaming the Arcane Studios or whatever. He was just being pretty. It seemed like pretty transparent about it. Which, hey, I mean, say what you want about Phil Spencer, but like, man, one thing that you got to give that man credit for is that he can take some accountability and just be honest about it and be real, which I think is really refreshing, because you definitely don't see that from a lot of like Jim Ryan or Doug Bowser and Nintendo. You don't really see that, so it's good, and I think that also helps in a lot of ways to kind of put Xbox in a lot of people's good graces in that respect. Obviously, you can't just keep doing this and be like, yeah, we're just fucking up. Be like, okay, so well, what else? What are we doing about it or whatever? Which he also pretty much was honest, earnest about in a lot of ways too in the interview. So shouts out to Phil. You could definitely tell he was very upset, pretty upset in terms of all things considered, but respect to him, man. But yeah, shouts out to Phil, because that is not a great position to be in. And I think another thing that they did mention was that they had every means to back out of the interview technically, after hearing all the news, and which I think a lot of them thought was gonna happen, but no, it feels like, hey, no, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take it and accept it. So I can only help but respect and love that. So shouts out to Phil Spencer. God, you know what? Get one for Phil Spencer. That ain't easy. It ain't easy. It ain't easy, Phil. I know. It just ain't easy. With that being said, that concludes all the news for this episode. Let's get into what I've been playing, which has been a lot. So first off, finished the Dark Pictures anthology, the last game in the Dark Pictures anthology after the Man of Medan, House of Ashes, Little Hope. I think those are it. Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Let me double check. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Or maybe I'm getting mixed up with the Quarry. Yeah, Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, The Devil in Me. Yeah, I think I was thinking about the Quarry, which also released between the anthology, but it's not within the Dark Pictures anthology. It was a totally separate game that was published by a different publisher, 2K Games, while the Dark Pictures anthology was published by Bandai Namco. So I didn't mean to get all nerdy, but hey, I want to know. I want to know. I would like to know. Yeah, I'd say I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very much felt like Scream meets Saw in a lot of ways. A lot of devious traps and planned traps, and well, you got to choose one person or the other. But you have to, I'm going to make you kill technically the other person and you have no choice. What are you going to do? Type stuff, which I think was a pretty nice take, outside of, the Saw series and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. I guess, other people maybe not so much, but I don't know. Just something about these games that just always intrigues me, as well as somebody who, mind you, is not really necessarily a fan of horror. It's been like a couple select horror movies I watch, but as somebody who really doesn't go out of his way to watch horror movies. It's something about these Dark Pictures anthologies that just feel, I don't know, just engaging, which obviously the QTEs and the feeling of choice, even though after the fact you realize that that's not really the case. Maybe my foot is hitting that USB cable. I guess that might be it. I don't know. Well, I'm just not gonna do that. Maybe I didn't realize, but nonetheless, yeah. So that is, yeah, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope, I have to say. Not to spoil anything, but it was a pretty cool conclusion to the Dark Pictures anthology as well, because there is some type of, you do get a sense of conclusiveness to it, but surprise, there actually is going to be another season with the first game, and then the next season it's going to be, what is it? Something Protocol. what is it called? It's sci-fi horror, so kind of like Alien vibes, I assume. What is it called? Supermassive game, sci-fi. Directive 8020. There you go. Directive 8020 is the next game in the series. So, sci-fi horror. I'm curious if they're gonna get alien-like in that sense, in terms of like, you know. Well, if you've seen Alien, I might. If you haven't, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I think it's pretty much pop culture at this time, but nonetheless. So that's the next one. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I mean, of course, a lot of these are misses. Like, you know, Man of Medan wasn't the best. I feel like Little Hope was the worst. But you know, they're still enjoyable. You get engaged, and you know, I don't know. It's like an interactive movie, which I think is always kind of the reliable aspect to it, in a way. But no, I really thoroughly enjoyed The Devil in Me. I think it's probably, I'd say, second best to Until Dawn. So I put Until Dawn is still at the top. Devil in Me, I had them ranked somewhere. Until Dawn, Devil in Me, I think House of Ashes, House of Ashes, The Quarry, Man of Medan, Little Hope. That's how I would rank them, if anybody was curious. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Fun game. I'm a sucker for those games. Not even gonna lie. I do need to get back in my, what was the company, Telltale Games bag. Like, the only one I've really fully committed to was, whatchamacallit. What was it called? Oh, The Walking Dead, of course. I don't know why I drew a blank there. But moving on, TMNT Cowabunga collection. This came out last year. I've been doing a lot of catch up this year so far, for sure. But yeah, finally got back to the TMNT, the Cowabunga collection, which is basically a collection of all the previous Ninja Turtle games, or at least a lot of you know, the more, I guess, iconic ones, if you will. So you got the essentials like Turtles in Time, both the SNES and arcade versions, Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis, the original TMNT arcade game. What else? A lot of the fighting games, like TMNT Tournament Fighters, and I think there was another fighting game. Pretty much all of the NES Ninja Turtle games, all of the well, at least a fair amount of the early Game Boy games. I know there was like a lot of GBA Ninja Turtle games and stuff like that afterward. And that was pretty much it. But man, let me tell you how Digital Eclipse, who basically were the masterminds behind this whole collection, along with, you know, Konami, like allowing to publish and all that good stuff, put their heart and soul into this collection, for sure. Just so much like attention to detail in terms of the collection. So like they updated like the in-game bullets, so where they're the in-game like the manual booklets that you would have gotten with the games, they pretty much like edited them and like updated them and, you know, implemented them into the game. Well, not game, but you can refer within the game to them, and like they actually show you video of like how to do some of the cheat codes and what the sound is like to know that you got the confirmation. They have this whole thing where the games are playing emulated in the background, and then, you know, if you see some cool, interesting like particular moment in the gameplay that you're like, you know what, hey, I want to play that. You can literally just play it from that state, which which I found out you can also exploit. Let's say in my case, who like was somebody who didn't care for the Game Boy games, or mainly the Game Boy and NES games. You could literally, since the gameplay, the emulated gameplay plays through literally the whole entirety of the game, you can literally fast forward the game to the last boss, which is basically how most of the games like keep track, use it as a limiter, as a means to track your trophy progress, essentially. So like basically defeat the last boss of the game and you'll get the achievement. So what you can, this is some nerdy shit, I know. This is why I have this podcast, not less, because I could just get this shit out. Oh man. If there was not a moment I realized, like, man, I'm a fucking nerd, this was it. But I digress. So pretty much with the rewind feature, or the simulated emulation feature, essentially, you could basically fast forward to the end of the gameplay and basically play and then save and then reload the game. And then, like, let's say you just have one more hit for Shredder to beat the game. You basically just take control, save, and then leave, and then reload the save, and then give Shredder one hit, and then achievement unlocked. So, best believe I did that. I think I got all the achievements after doing that. Of course, I played pretty much all of the memorable games. I legitimately did play. And I think you can only do it with certain games. You can only do it with like the Game Boy games, and the NES games are the only ones I think you can really only do that exploit with, which makes sense as well, because like those are the ones that I didn't want to play anyway. All the other ones I did want to legitimately play. So yeah, pretty much played all the beat 'em ups and all of the fighting games, and basically just used the cheap ass move. Oh, shouts out! How could I forget? Shouts out to the rewind feature. That's probably one of the best additions to emulation, whether it be the Switch or the or this collection. So basically I was feeling like Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The wood. Do that funky sound, whatever. But so basically, I was using the hell out of the rewind feature, especially the fighting game, because pretty much how most fighting games work is that they're very cheap, and they like basically read your input to do their input. So it leads to a lot of, them being cheap, essentially. But with the rewind feature, you could just keep getting your ass whooping and just rewind. Kind of like Doctor Strange when he used the Eye of Agamotto, I think. Just literally just rewind and keep until you actually hit the person, which I was doing a lot, which is kind of fun. I really underestimated how fun the rewind feature was until recently now. But yeah, shouts out to the rewind feature, especially helped me with like the cheap ass bosses in TMNT. Since you had to get the achievement for TMNT, you had to beat the game on the highest difficulty to even unlock that. So that was fun. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess I must be hitting the USB. I'm gonna not put my foot there. But yeah. So thoroughly enjoyed the Cowabunga collection. Oh, also, shouts out to the archives. They literally like scanned every goddamn like development manual, development sketch for every game, it was like it was overwhelming to a point, which I think is a great thing, to be honest with you. They have like shots of all the TMNT TV show episodes. Man, you could go down just a whole damn rabbit hole for like hours on end with this collection. So, which is why I say this is definitely the prime example of how to do a collection right. My little 4-year-old self was very happy playing all these games again and just being able to relive, kind of the the zeitgeist that was TMNT at the time, man. Just like next to Power Rangers, TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was my jam growing up. So this was very sentimental to me personally. So I do recommend. I absolutely recommend. If you are a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, growing up, wonderful game. Wonderful collection. One of the best out there, I'd say. With that being said, also, especially with Zelda coming out, come on, camera, don't you do this to me. Don't you do that. Why are you giving up? Don't give up. Sorry, guys. I don't get it. Nonetheless, yeah, Legend of Zelda, the NES. So mind you, I've not really played the Zelda games. I got Breath of the Wild and played 20 hours of it, and I think I just fell off. I think it was a couple reasons, but probably the main was I feel like I didn't know where the series came from. Like, and I'm a person that likes to, fully play a game from its origins to really get a full sense of, where the game came from. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. So I started off, from the first game, The Legend of Zelda. So booted up the Nintendo Switch Online collection. So, played on the NES controller and had a wonderful time with Legend of Zelda. Yeah, definitely some getting used to. Had to definitely refer to a guide because I didn't feel like, just being lost for like 20-50 minutes. I'd be ready to do that for like, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom when I eventually catch up. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how revolutionary a lot of the mechanics in that game were at the time. I think technically it was like at least one of the first RPGs where there is a progression, and also one of the first save systems for a Nintendo game, which was pretty dope. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty damn awesome, I have to say. Yeah, loved all the progression. Loved the the various references, little music here and there, and eventually until I beat the game, it was pretty fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I understand the hype so far for people that started with this game. So that's also what I wanted to kind of fully embrace and understand as well, which I think I did successfully. So after that, I did play Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Technically, before that, I tried playing Zelda 2, but I was like, yeah, I'm good. This is not working. Maybe I'll come back if I, really get engulfed in the Zelda games. But then I went to Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Just a little backstory. I did technically have this game on the Game Boy when I was younger. I think I talked about it before on a previous episode or so, but long story short, I was crossing the street and like I had my Game Boy games in my pockets, and my pockets were pretty loose and baggy. So of course, they did fall out when I crossed the street, and of course, it was too late when I saw it. Then, you know, all of the traffic came afterward, and then I just saw just pretty much in slow motion, just seeing each and every one of my carts get destroyed. Some thankfully didn't fall out, but of course, it was the one game I was pretty much close to beating. I felt that did, and that kind of low key ruined Zelda for me for a while. I was like, you know what, I'm done with Zelda. So, but nonetheless, I finally redeemed myself, and actually, thank you. I actually finished, for the first time, finished A Link to the Past, and it was pretty great, pretty damn great, I have to say. Loved all the, you know, the, of course, Zelda-isms, hidden paths and stuff, and, you know, sense of adventure and discovery. All of it was there. Really loved the dark world mechanic, where basically you know, transition into this alternate like universe in a sense, which kind of like a mirror world in some ways. But yeah, it was dope. I loved it. I loved it so much. I really did. It was great. It was good. It was good. I'm glad I did it. Part of me needed to do it for just, you know, to get that chip off my shoulder in a way, you know. But yeah, after that, now currently I am playing Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time on the 64 emulation Nintendo Switch Online thing. Which I only played like about an hour so far, so it's hard for me to say, but yeah, it's definitely, it seems interesting. I still got to find a sword and shield, so just to tell you how far I'm actually am, but I'm definitely interested to fully play that. So at least my plan, my roadmap, if you will, for the Zelda games, yeah, probably, finish Ocarina of Time, then play Majora's Mask, and then I'm probably gonna skip all of the other Zeldas in between. Maybe I might play Skyward Sword before Breath of the Wild again, and then Tears of the Kingdom. That's at least my tentative game plan, if you will. But we'll see. Of course, I might take a break in between, but actually, I'm digging the pace I'm going so far in terms of that. So, also, briefly, just a little bit, I also played Saints Row, the reboot that came out last year as well. Apparently, a new update came out around like May 10th. So I was like, okay, like there was a big patch update last November, and now there's a patch update now. Saints Row might be in good shape now. At least from what I played so far, maybe about 2-3 hours. It's still got some jank to it, but it seems like it's at least to be honest, pretty on par with the previous Saints Row games, which I don't know if you could take that as a compliment or insult. I guess it could be both ways technically, but at least felt familiar with the previous Saints Row game. So I guess that means something, right? But I'm not sure yet. Of course, you know, you got your create a character and, you know, being able to explore and all that stuff. It's hard for me to fully have any sentiments as of yet, but I'm digging it so far. I almost had a moment where I was about to pretty much write the game off completely, where I was playing on Xbox Series X, right? Playing on Xbox Series X, and what did I do? Oh yeah, so I was trying to play the game, obviously, and then like when I was playing it basically, when I was trying to load a particular moment in the game, it would just be stuck at the loading screen, and I waited like a good 15-20 minutes. So then I chose another save. Well, no, I first rebooted the Xbox and then, quit and reloaded the game and same exact thing. So now I was like, okay, well, I'm done. I've had enough with you, Saints Row. I was like, you can't even let me play you, so now I'm done. But then I started thinking about I was playing like a little bit of Call of Duty in between. I was like, you know what? I don't think I fully closed the game because you know how this is a gift and a curse, but I feel more so a curse from what I've witnessed so far. Is that the Xbox will cache your game, and how essentially that's how it does the quick resume for being able to launch between multiple games at once, or not once, just being able to easily swap between games pretty seamlessly without a lot of load time. And yeah, that was kind of the issue essentially. So I had to basically clear the cache, clear the quick resume cache for Saints Row, and then I reloaded it, and then everything was fine. So, just the damn caveat, of having a reload or, quick resume. Because I feel like the only games I ever really use it for, it's not really useful for, because like if you play a multiplayer game, it's only going to be problematic because the game will think you disconnected and then won't let you reconnect. In some games like Halo Infinite felt pretty difficult, and like what was the other one? I think Modern Warfare is not as bad, but it is kind of annoying. Just annoying enough to where I'm like, you know what? I'd just rather just fully close this and then just reopen it. Which I think there's a menu option to do that, but I'd have to look into that more to actually do it, But nonetheless, yeah. So that's Saints Row. Yeah, still yet to be determined how I feel about it overall. But also, I did play this pretty dope beat 'em up called Final Vendetta. It was on sale at the time, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I never gave this a chance, so I was like, let me pick this up and play it. And man, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's traditional beat 'em up, kind of has man, if Streets of Rage and Final Fight had a baby, it probably would be Final Vendetta. I think that's safe to say. You got a lot of references to both games in a lot of ways. Shouts out to that nightclub stage with one of the most banging soundtracks I've heard in a minute. It is on my Spotify on repeat playlist, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's got some hidden depth, which that caught me off guard and kept me engaged as well, which I always say that is what every game dev should strive to do in their beat 'em up specifically, is have some of that hidden juicy depth, that them secret combos that like, oh shit, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could catch people in the air and break their backs. Like, hell yeah. This shit just got more interesting. Now I'm motivated. Oh man. But yeah, so Final Vendetta. Wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very hard. That's definitely one thing I will say about it. There is a mode that you can play that gives you unlimited credits, and you can just play it, if you're just playing just for fun. But on the mode they want you to play to unlock arcade, a couple modes, I think survival and some other mode, it is hard as hell to do. I don't know how people do it. I was watching some people online, post their YouTube videos of them playing this game. They're like doing some run canceling with the Miller, I think the guy named Miller, just run canceling and dashing attacking, and and then just not getting hit at all because he's juggling them in the air. I'm like, damn, I kind of wanted to do that and I tried to, and it just didn't work out. And then also PSA to fighting it, beat 'em up developers, please include legacy PS4 fight stick support, because some games just cater to a fight stick like this one, and I can't because the PS5 version doesn't have legacy fight stick support like a lot of the fighting games do. Like Street Fighter 6, the demo I played, I messed with my fighting stick again and works just fine. So hopefully they figure that out, because that is just irritating at this point, that, you know, maybe they can make it a universal thing and like maybe check with the game if it has a dual sense features and then immediately cut it off in that sense or something like that. I don't know. Just a pretty big gripe I do have with that game. Outside of that, that concludes all of what I've been playing. Get into what I've been watching, which I did see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters when it came out, and man, that was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably, arguably, maybe the best in the trilogy, I'd say. Has a lot of feels. I cried. Maybe I may or may not have cried like 3 times in the theater, but you know, hey, sometimes they just get at your heartstrings like that, and that's what happened. So yeah, you know, just got at them heartstrings. They just was playing it like a violin. But of course had the, you know, awesome funny banter between, you know, the characters. Like Drax definitely was the star of the show there. What's her name? Mantis. She was funny. Gamora, she had her moments, even though she's not the Gamora we knew before Infinity War. But she was pretty funny. Of course, Star-Lord. Everybody had their good moments for sure. I pretty much liked how things ended. It ended very conclusively, very like peacefully, you know, like a very how do I say it? Kind of a bittersweet type, you know, ending, it felt like. But it was cool. They, you know, seem like it's kind of open to you know, some things. Not trying to spoil anything, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah, I might even put it in my top 10 for sure. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure probably top 10 Marvel movies for sure. So yeah, I do recommend it. James Gunn ended with a bang, because I guess this is his last movie before he becomes the Kevin Feige of DC with you know, the fully DCU initiative, if you will. But yeah, it was a fun ride. I enjoyed it. Yeah. With that being said, that concludes what I've been watching, as well as I think that'll be it for episode 174 of Switches Sites podcast. If you did like this podcast, feel free to like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can catch archives of this on youtube.com/aswitch. I also record this live bi-weekly on Thursday evenings on Twitch TV/aswitch as well. But if that'll be all, y'all, you know, feel free to fuck and get your damn game on. Oh yeah.